G200, B200, let's look at which light is the best portable travel light for filmmakers. All right, people, let's get into it. I am Garrett, and today we are comparing two LED lights from Zhiyun, the G200, which has been a staple in my travel kit, with the brand new B200. We're going to be looking at the portability, the build quality, the light quality, and the overall ergonomics and workflow. So that way you can best understand which of these two lights would best serve you and your shooting style when on the road. Zhiyun didn't pay me for any of this. All of my thoughts and opinions on these lights, what's good and what's not, are all of my own, and they don't get to see this before I upload it. So this is my unbiased review of both lights. Starting with the G200, the Molus G series has been around for a while, and it is one of the most interesting configurations for a Cobb-style LED. While it does have the Bowens fixture on the front that we are used to seeing, along with the bicolor LED diode, it is an actively cooled, square kind of boxy configuration. This makes it extremely portable, both for travel and for setup, allowing you to put lights in places that you otherwise would not traditionally be able to do. A couple of things that we should just look at in terms of the way that the fixture is. On the front here, we have our eject for our Bowens mount, which means that I can just sit here and I can mount it and re-secure it there. We have our little pin here, which is where our power port plugs into. On this itself here, this little mount stand here, we have an umbrella fixture here, so then that way we can actually tie in a modifier onto it directly, in addition to having angles to turn the light, as well as secure it onto your standard baby pin light stand. So from a portability standpoint, this is incredibly portable. However, this isn't the only component to the light. To control the light, you will also need this ballast, and the ballast itself is also quite small, kind of similar in shape to the light fixture, but in addition to this just being the power, this is also the light control. There are no controls on the fixture itself. Now, as you can see, both the ballast and the light fixture itself are actively cooled with fans, which is good in terms of heat dispensation for a light of this size, but the active cooling can get rather noisy. But as I said before, this is a bicolor light, meaning that you are going to have CCT control of it, as well as being able to dim the intensity. It has this kind of odd cord that's attached to the ballast, so there's no way to unplug it from the ballast. So when you're packing it, you have to keep that in mind, and it has this elastic strap for mounting on stands. Has standard 3-pin power at the bottom there, as well as an on-off switch on the top. I like this addition to it, so I actually can hard stop the power on or off. It then has this little 9-pin connector here, which then plugs into the base of the light fixture here. When you order this light, it comes with these two components. It comes with a diode cover here, like that, as well as your traditional Bowens scoop. These are the three things that come in the kit, in addition to the power cord for the bottom of that, and it comes in a fantastic little carrying case. For my purposes, I would always recommend somebody use a Pelican 1510 or some other hard case for carry-on, and this could easily fit 3 of these light fixtures with the fixture and the ballast into a 1510. So if you are going to be traveling and having a 3-point kit, being able to have all 3 of these lights into a single 1510 for carry-on is way better than a large box or a series of cases for that same type of kit. When we're talking about travel lights, or lights that we are going to use on the road, we oftentimes are more hard on that equipment than we are if they're just in the studio. And one of the things that I liked about this light initially, especially compared to something like the Amaran 200, for example, is that the mounting fixture here is made entirely out of metal. So you are able to tighten this down onto stands without having to worry about splitting the mount. Now, that said, there's a big caveat. You can see here, there's this warning sticker on this they're not lying. This light, especially around here, for an LED fixture gets incredibly hot. Hence the active cooling for this. This gets so hot around here that I would be concerned about not only burning yourself if you're handling it too early, but also melting or burning things inside of a hard case. So be mindful of that. But some hard plastic kind of components around, but the things that matter, which the grill, the mounting point, the Bowens mount, all of that is made out of metal, which means from a durability or a build quality standpoint, this is quite robust. Much in the same with the ballast. The parts that matter are made out of metal. The rest is this kind of hard ABS plastic. This doesn't feel quite as robust as the fixture itself, so keep that in mind. There are some things in terms of this being a travel light that aren't my favorite, like for instance the durability of this cable being hard fixed into this as opposed to being a separate cable. My concern, depending on how you pack this, would be the durability of this component over time. In addition to this rubber elastic strap here, these two to me are points that might fail sooner than others. The other thing is that the buttons are raised above this grill on the front, meaning that these are going to be a touch point much more quickly than anything else. And because both of these have recessed pressing on them, you do want to be careful with these buttons when you're packing them that you don't put too much pressure on them. So this not as robust in terms of build quality as the fixture head. That said, unbelievably portable for travel. Now, 200 watt fixtures kind of fit in that really nice travel range in terms of brightness to size factor. A 200 watt fixture like this G200 or the B200 are both going to give you enough light that you're going to be able to modify them easily while being on the road. Compared to the 300 series of both fixtures, these are much more compact and easier to travel with. So where a 100 is super compact, it may not give you the versatility in lighting, and while the 300 is incredibly bright, it may not give you the versatility in portability. So that's why these 200s kind of fit in this really nice range. An interesting thing about the G line of the Molus lights from Zhiyun is that they can be overcranked or overclocked. So this is a 200 watt fixture, but you can overclock this or overcrank this light to make it somewhere close to about a 300 or 320 watt fixture, meaning that the output of the diode on here is higher than the spec of this light. Now, there's a giant asterisk to that. This is an actively cooled light, both in terms of the fixture and the ballast, as we talked about earlier. And as such, you can hear the fan. It's not enough when you're using it in its normal range of up to 200 watt to affect your audio in any significant way, unless the fixture is like very close to the mic. That said, when you overclock this to be the 300, 320 watt fixture, while you do get an incredible amount of additional brightness out of it, the fans also crank incredibly high and incredibly loud. So I would only ever overcrank or overclock the light on this if you're not recording audio. So if you're doing things like B-roll, or you need a little extra light punch for slow motion or what have you, that's when I would go through and overclock this. Otherwise, I would leave that feature kind of alone. When we talk about the brightness and accuracy of a light, right, this is a 200 watt equivalent light that you can overclock to 300, but it has a CRI of over 95 and a TCLI rating of over 97. That's important because if we're going to be matching the color of the environment that we're in, because this is a bi-color fixture, we want to be able to trust the readouts that we're getting on the light. Now, the G200 is also compatible with the ZY Vega app, which is Zhiyun's app to control the light. So I am able to, via Bluetooth, quickly and easily pair to this light and control both the intensity as well as the color of this light remotely. What I like about that is because this form factor lends this light to being mounted into difficult to reach places because of its form factor, I then don't have to go and screw with the light to make it work the way that I want it to. I can open the app and just make it work remotely. The only real qualm I have with this, other than the fact that this cable doesn't detach, is the fact that this cable isn't quite long enough. If I'm going to put this super high and kind of up in the corner and I'm going to shine down on something, I would like this cable to be a little longer, which would then allow me to have the ballast in a much more easily accessible place apart from this fixture. But being mindful of the heat and the fan sound of this, you can get a lot out of this little guy, and it is unbelievably portable. So that is portability, durability, brightness, and accuracy. This is a known fixture. This is something that people have been using for a long time. But how does this light compare to the brand new B200? This, ladies and gentlemen, is the brand new Zhiyun B200. This is the 200 watt version in their B line of lights that looks quite different from the G200. If you were to paint this yellow, it would look like the Beatles' Yellow Submarine. When you order this light, it will come with this fixture, it will come with a power cable, and it will come with a scoop like this. It does not come with a case, or at least mine did not come with a case in the same way that the G200 did, but that doesn't matter to me because of course my plan has always been to pack this into a 1510. It also didn't come with a cover for the LED fixture. I don't know if that was just mine or if that's going to be everybody's, but that said, I wish that there was a Bowens cover for this because of course we don't want to be touching that glass element in the front. Now if you're packing this away into a Pelican like I am and you're using Trek Pack so it's all nice and snug, you don't really have to worry about that as much because it's not going to be rattling around in the case, but still something that I would like to have seen. Looking at this fixture, it is primarily made of hard plastic, which includes this mount. Unlike the G200, which has the metal light mount here, this one is made out of hard plastic on the lower half, and the upper half of the fixture is metal. The nice thing is that this yoke tightening down against metal is going to make sure that you don't have to worry about over cranking this and breaking the fixture in the same way that you would with like an Amaran light. That being all plastic in the Amaran series makes it really tough to work with. Wish this was metal, understand that it's not, but of course because this is only the light stand part and the upper half is made out of metal, it is still quite robust. This also does have the umbrella clamp here that is fixed to the direction of the light, meaning that I'm able to have an umbrella modifier should I need one directly on there. You'll see here that it also is actively cooled. We have a heat sink in the middle behind the chip with active fans on the side, the back, and the other side with a vent across the top. So air is coming in from three sides and shooting out the top, keeping this incredibly cool, especially compared to the G200 that gets so insanely hot. While this is actively cooled, while it is operating, it is more quiet than the G200, making this much better for audio sensitive environments. One of the things that I love about this light is that it has no separate ballast. There is a 3-pin plug right here at the bottom, allowing you to take a standard power cable of any length that you choose and plug it directly into the fixture. Right above that is again a hard power switch, which makes this super nice and easy to turn on and off. There's a dial on either side, here and here, one to control your CCT and one to control your intensity. There is right behind this little handle here, a small little screen that you can then see the light settings in action. And again, it has this little handle here. The catch release for the Bowens is over here on the side, which is a little different. I understand keeping it in line so that way you don't have something on the top that kind of sticks up and out. So from an ergonomic standpoint, it's kind of an odd location for it, but from a portability standpoint, makes a ton of sense because it's kind of tucked in with the rest of this for protection. So that works really, really well. Now, the other thing is it has this USB Type-C port right here on the side, and that is so you can plug this into a computer for future firmware updates. I don't know entirely what firmware we would need to update in this light, but you do have that for this, which is a really interesting feature, which means that I think that they have more things planned for the hardware with software, which is pretty incredibly cool. The main body of this is also made out of plastic, but seeing as primarily all of the plastic parts are stationary parts and all of the parts that you interact with, like your Bowens mount and your light clamp, being metal makes this a much more robust build quality than something like the Amaran, while not being quite as robust as the light fixture of the G200. That said, I still don't feel like I need to baby this. I would be concerned about dropping it, but don't drop your stuff. The other thing I really like in terms of build quality, in contrast with the G200, are again these knobs. These are very similar knobs to the ones on the G200 for our CCT and dim or intensity, but you'll see here that it has these little covers that come up around the button, meaning that when I set the light down on either side, I don't have to worry about these getting banged around in the same way that I do with the G200. So I actually think that this is an improvement on the design style of the G200. This also works with the ZY Vega app, so you are able to control both the G200 and the B200 remotely via Bluetooth. Now this light has a CRI and TCLI rating of 96 plus. That varies a little bit from fixture to fixture within this line, from the 100 to the 300, but for the 200, 96 plus, pretty good. This light does not have the overclocking capabilities of the G200. This is a true 200 watt light. So if having that extra punch at the sacrifice of audio is something that's important, that's something to consider. This is also a bicolor light, meaning that I have Kelvin control from 2700 to 6000, just like I do on the G200. But those are the two lights. Those are my thoughts on the lights, right? Again, every shooter is different. Their needs are different. You might need the G200 over the B200 or the B200 over the G200. Both of them are incredibly capable lights, and they are wildly different at that portable, compact, inexpensive price point. Now, because they are incredibly compact travel lights that are incredibly affordable, the catch to it is that we cannot power them via battery. So V mount, gold mount, AB mount, you don't have the option to power them off of battery. Now, you could have some sort of electronic or a generator or power bank with an AC plug and power it that way, but generally speaking, this would be a light that you would need to plug into mains power. Small drawback for all of the positives that you get out of them. Now, I would love to know which of these two lights you prefer down in the comments below, what you envision yourself using those lights for. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, do me a favor, give it a like and hit that subscribe button if you have not yet already. Also, there's the little bell. You can hit the bell should you want to know when the next video comes out. And as always, I'll see you in the next episode.